Yeah. Shoot.
Oh yeah, cool. Hey everyone. Okay, we're live. Welcome to Ecosystem Session. It is Tuesday, the 23rd of February, and we have Eric.
We're not quite there yet. Again, give me a moment.
Not live.
Not like we're going live very shortly.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, you're live. You're on.
Okay. Hey everyone. Welcome to Ecosystem Session with Eric from Junto. Hey Eric.
Hey man, good to see you.
Good to see you as well. So it's the 23rd of February, 2021, and we last talked in December, mid-December, I think it was.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, and I think you said you'd be back. You're always in a new location. I'm liking the backdrop today.
Yeah, I'm back in Houston, Texas this time. So last time we were in New Paltz, New York, and now we're back in my hometown where I grew up. So yeah, good to represent in this live stream here.
Yeah, good to see you back in your hometown. So yeah, you were gonna come and give us some news about what's been going on, share some progress. I think there was a talk of a crowdfund campaign. So I look forward to hearing what's up and asking some questions and seeing there some questions come up in the live stream.
Sounds good. How have you been, by the way? Just a quick check-in.
Oh, quick check-in, thanks. Sure. Well, still locked down here in the UK, and so that's my context. I'm pretty excited. I've got my Holoport running, playing around with Elemental Chat and sending statistics and chat messages to friends around the world who all want to buy Holoports now. So I'm feeling that's a nice little, it's nice to be able to engage in that way.
Right.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying that. And kind of like as a friend keeps reminding me, watching a bouncing ball. Watching a bouncing ball and noticing when I get distracted.
Right. It's an interesting metaphor for that.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and how about you?
Yeah, things have been good. Been spending the last month with family here in Houston, so that's been really nice to have some quality time. Thankfully, we made it through the storm that kind of came through and wiped out the entire city's power. But yeah, so thankfully, things are solid here. Headed back to Mexico in a couple days, and I'll just be spending a couple months there. So looking forward to that as well.
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Well, what's been going on with Junto?
Yeah, just heads down preparing for the crowdfunding campaign. And we started actively strategizing our Holochain development too. So some pretty cool updates to share with everyone there. Just seeing Elemental Chat go live and work well, and you all pumping out releases pretty quickly kind of gave us the green light to start figuring out how exactly we want to go about making the transition from the centralized app that we have live right now to having something working on Holochain. So yeah, I can start there. We for a while we've been really trying to figure out this value proposition of Junto, right? We've been really presenting something that we feel like is a holistic solution to the, you know, problem of social media today, like providing a culture through like healthier design patterns that where people can feel like they can engage more freely, you know, build relationships that are more genuine and kind of get away from an atmosphere that is trying to work against their psychology. And, you know, with the benefits of decentralization and privacy and communication. But in terms of the product, you know, what really became clear was this need for truly secure and private communication within like close pockets of groups and friends. And so that's the first thing we're building on Holochain actually, is it's going to be a progressive web application. That's the current plan. So we'll be using web technologies, but you can still use it on mobile. But we'll have a version for it on web as well. And yeah, just being able to create your own private group for, you know, decentralized direct messaging. It'll be a part of like a private group in a social media space. So there's like a feed, and then within the group itself, there's also like a separate space for, you know, direct messaging within those, between those people. And I think your camera froze. I don't know if I'm still on this live on the stream, but I'm gonna wait for the for you to come back.
Definitely still.
There we are. Yeah,
Yep.
you just froze for a second. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, just, you know, private groups with the group chats kind of embedded in the same space, connected to a general social media experience. And then within the private group chat, people can just, you know, create their own sub conversations like channels essentially. And so that's our MVP for Holochain. We plan on launching it this fall/winter. And we're also going to continue to improve the experience of the centralized application, but we're really kind of shifting the focus of the centralized app to be more of like kind of reversing it now, where the centralized application is more of like where we start to test certain design concepts and get feedback on it with the community. And it's more of a public forum space where people can create public groups and kind of engage in the collective space or any public groups that they create. But it's really a place for us to kind of iterate and polish the design and then migrate all of that over to Holochain as we continue to build things out feature by feature. So really the goal, you know, that segues into the crowdfunding campaign. We're raising at least like 500K, and that money is going to go towards getting a version of the centralized app that is like very polished, and, you know, completing some remaining features, cleaning up the app, and also, you know, putting a lot of resources into building our first version of Junto on Holochain. And if we're able to raise more money, then we can really build out the entire social network over Holochain. And, you know, there's certain stretch goals that are available for people to check out on the crowdfunding campaign itself.
Cool. So is the crowdfunding campaign live?
Yeah, you know, we are going to make our official announcement about it tomorrow, but people can actually, so February 24th is kind of when we're going to be really making, sending out emails and tweeting about it and, you know, doing that. But for everyone here watching, you know, those that want to take a sneak peek at what we've got, I can drop the link in this chat for, I don't know how we're going to share that with people, but that's the link if you have a way to kind of share that to the people watching the live stream, or we can link it to the video, the recorded version as well.
Should we jump on and share screen for a second and we just have a quick look at it?
Sure.
Let me just load it up here. Or, no, here we go. Can we see that? Hang on.
Yeah.
Is that the new one or is that the old one?
So it's Indiegogo in demand. It's an extension of the old one. It's yeah. So it's just going to be on a rolling basis. We'll leave it live for a few months and then we'll close it. But yeah. So you can kind of scroll down, check it out.
It's so beautiful as always.
Yeah, thank you. We're spending the rest of today just kind of cleaning it up a little bit more, but it has all the content for people to see right now. You get your Junto hoodie. You have one, by the way? I feel like we mailed one to you, right?
No.
You don't have a Junto hoodie? Oh man. We gotta fix that.
Yeah. Definitely. I can wear it on the ecosystem sessions.
Yeah. Great idea.
Nice. There we go. Okay, so for everyone that's here you go. And this is what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
We're still trying to figure out the encryption aspect of things.
Yeah.
And that's what we're hoping to work with the Holochain team on. And but yeah, we really kind of just going all in on this approach and are here to figure these things out with you guys. So
yeah, interesting. I think I was talking to one of the core devs about messaging encryption, and they're saying like we could potentially use like the encryption protocols that Signal uses, and there's a few different other options. But my understanding is it's got to be a real partnership with Holochain Core because there's some of these protocols have then got to be built into Core.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
There we go. Beautiful. Huh. Recognize this?
Nice.
There we go. Super. Okay. Anything else you want to share on this screen?
Yeah, if you let's see. I can kind of go over some high level things. So, like everything in Junto is really like a group or like a community. If you scroll down a little bit to the section of deeper flows of value, one of the larger features that we're going to be building into the centralized application and eventually in Holochain is this is essentially like integrating gift economics. So being able to share an offering or need in any of these groups that you belong to and curating like a unique list of offering and needs that people can post if you're a facilitator for those respective communities to kind of suggest, different flows of value there. And yeah, maybe scrolling down a little bit more, we've got yeah, just a little bit more to the if we can go to the roadmap section. Yeah, here. So just to give people, a high level picture of where we're at, we're going to be running this crowdfunding campaign from essentially today, really, for those viewing this, get early access to check out the Indiegogo, but really officially from tomorrow on the 24th. We'll run this until likely the start of June, maybe a little bit longer. And the people that contribute to the campaign will be the first to get to use the beta that will begin to open up to our waitlist, as well as our first Holochain version, which will be available, this fall and winter. So you can kind of see the roadmap here. We'll be onboarding people in the beta in the summer, and then, you know, in the fall and winter, we'll have a version of Junto private groups and private group messaging with sub-channels that you can create available this year. And well, that's the goal. So that gives us about, you know, 6 to 9 months to really build that out. And you know, the following year after that, the following summer, we're aiming to have like the entire social network be running on Junto, and then just really spend the year of 2022 just making sure everything's working and polishing the app, and going for a public release the year after. So the fundraising goals below kind of show people what we can really accomplish with certain tiers. So 500K is really the minimum that we need. This gets us to a polished centralized beta that we can really onboard more people, and it will kind of serve as an environment for us to just for the community to connect and share and meet each other, as well as testing like design features that we'll bring over to Holochain, and it will give us the funding that we need to complete the our first version of Holochain. And then at the threshold of $1 million, we can hire, you know, more people, more developers, get the entire app running on Holochain and get it to a public release. And then the last stretch goal is really about financial sustainability. You know, it gives us enough runway for us to launch a revenue model, figure it out, and then reach, you know, hopefully reach a point where we can generate enough monthly recurring revenue so that we don't need to rely on, you know, crowdfunding or external funding sources. And so yeah, you know, really excited to share this with people and really continue to move this project forward in a grassroots way. You know, this has kind of been a very unconventional process of getting this this developed, and I think it's beautiful to just really, it's really bottom up and you know, not relying on like one centralized source of funding or like doing a for-profit take on it. So you know, if people here feel called, like feel free to just check out the campaign and, you know, participate if you resonate with what we're doing. I think you're muted, by the way, David. So
yeah, no, thanks, Eric. Yeah, thanks so much for this. Yeah, it's really clear. I noticed there that you're saying like Junto was, I think it was the 16th in 2019, 16th largest raise on Kickstarter for a software company. I wonder what these thresholds would make it.
yeah, probably. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe like in the top 5, but this is through Indiegogo, so I think it would be a different sort of category.
Yeah. Have you noticed a change in the conversations that you've been having with people about what you're doing in the last, especially I guess since last time we spoke? But it seems to me, at least, there is an increased desire to shift platforms, and there's an increased desire to care about which spaces I'm participating in and how I'm showing up in those spaces and what I'm cultivating there. Have you noticed that in, I guess, 2 ways? One, I guess the conversations as you're thinking about fundraising, do you think it's going to be easier, or are you finding it easier to get commitments? And the second, have you noticed any change in behavior on the actual, you know, application with your users?
Yeah. So, you know, I can't predict how the fundraising campaign will go. You know, I personally will have a lot of trust in the process and letting it become what it's meant to become. Like, you know, our team's been working hard and we've been doing everything we can to get the app moving forward as best we can while simultaneously preparing for this campaign. So we've put the intention out there, and I feel like people, you know, that take the time to really look into what we're doing will understand where we're coming from, and that, you know, we're trying to do things with the highest level of integrity as possible. I do think the conversation has shifted, especially in the past 3 months since we last spoke, surprisingly, like in that short amount of time. What's become more clear is just really the collective climate right now has really contributed to, you know, an increased awareness about like self-sufficiency. You know, is kind of this thing that I've been thinking about quite a bit. Is it's really beautiful how, you know, this transformation that's taking place, and how we, like, the systems that we choose to engage in, or like the currencies that we use to exchange value in, or the platforms that we're using. It's like a very peaceful transformation through learning how to, you know, become both independent and interdependent, like through a grassroots way, like no longer needing to rely on centralized structures and monopolies to kind of tell us what to do and give our power away. But really learning how to take care of one another, and take care of ourselves, and taking that accountability into our own hands. And so that's the theme that I've been seeing, is more people are trying to like grow their own food, you know, trying to like do all these things, like take care of their neighbors. And, you know, like communication that cannot be censored, and that is truly private, and is taking place in an atmosphere that really encourages healthier sorts of social norms, I think is very important. And people have been wanting that. And I think, you know, having a digital space where people know that this is designed to really facilitate more mutual care in our lives, and more free, you know, sense of communication is has become more prominent, especially with community organizers I've been getting in touch with just in Houston. I've met 2 people that are, one of them is in the artist community, and you know, and the other is kind of someone who started this distributed network of offline communities of, you know, basically figuring out ways to be independent and self-sufficient. And what has been a common theme is, you know, how can we communicate in a healthier way, in a more authentic way, and in a way where we cannot be controlled or manipulated by, you know, large corporations with bad intentions. And so I think the need and the timing is pretty aligned with where we are right now. And, you know, this really is something that we need to do together. And I think we're very used to just kind of giving all the responsibility away to one organization to take care of it. But if we really want to make this change, and if we really want to transform things in a way that truly serves all of us, then this is something that we have to all actively be hands-on with, in whatever way that is. You know, like if people feel called to help out, I really encourage people to, you know, at the very least, just spread the word, help us reach as many people as possible, help us find the right community, and you know, let's do this together. We operate in a very non-hierarchical fashion. I'm just, you know, one person contributing to a larger vision that we all can benefit from. And yeah, you know, this is really, for us, it's service. You know, none of us are going to be rich off this. We just need to pay staff and hopefully, you know, bring something beautiful to the world, and take it from there.
Yeah. It's so consistent, isn't it, with the conversations that we've been having over the last year. It's really nice to see just that pattern continuing, and the trust as well, that things will take care of themselves and things will work out.
Yeah,
Balance, getting prepared.
Yeah, I remember we had a good conversation about that last time. That was
I'm still really impressed to hear it because, you know, talk to a ton of projects out there at the moment, and you know, there's definitely, well, not this, the easiest way to get money at the moment is still like, you know, big brand names, funds, etc. And yeah, I really like your approach. It'll be really interesting. Well, we're going to have to do a debrief on it because I'm going to look forward to see how it played out differently, and also what kind of awareness was built for people, like looking at, especially as you're starting to move some of these things on Holochain, what kind of awareness is being built, and what's that mean in terms of community that's turning towards you and wants to participate or contribute. I've certainly noticed like that shifting of attention. Like, oh, hang on, there's this chat thing. Hang on, what's hosting that chat? You know, how's that working? That's a blockchain.
Yeah.
But a blockchain is not supposed to be able to do that, you know. And so the real turning towards when it's like before, it was like unlimited TPS, all those kind of things. You're speaking in the abstraction to say my imaginary thing is better than your real thing.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's not better. It's like, oh, hang on, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I can conceive that that's possible. Oh, I'd like to play with that and see what happens. So I'm imagining as you start shifting in that direction, you'll also start to attract the people who are looking for that thing and didn't realize,
right,
or couldn't find.
Yeah, I mean, we're very excited to guinea pig that, you know, just like really build something tangible that people can use, and it is working like smoothly and well, and people know it's decentralized and, you know, running on Holochain and Holo. So something we're definitely looking forward to.
I thought I might jump into a few questions if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So first one came up, I was chatting to the Kizuna team doing their AMA this morning. So they say hello, and they said that you guys have been chatting about direct messaging.
Yes, we have.
And out of curiosity, like, is that you're sharing ideas, or you'll build a shared module, or like how is that collaboration unfolding?
Pretty casual right now. I think we both, you know, been very open and just trying to embrace a more collaborative ecosystem. You know, it's not like a winner takes all thing, and that's not what we want. And, you know, we've done our own research and development. They've done their research and development. It's really about just sharing ideas and trying to focus on the solution. And, you know, like we would love to collaborate with them on building this and that's part of like why we're raising the money here, is to, you know, we're working towards the same goal. We can see if there's like some sort of formal collaboration that can take place. So that's something we've definitely even talked about with them and are actively considering. And so, but yeah, you know, we kind of see, you know, like what I noticed in the past month when I started to come across some of these communities is that there's not really, like, for example, Telegram and Signal are great, but at a certain scale, it becomes quite difficult to organize your community using like a monolithic chat application. And then, you know, but for larger, you know, like not many people want to use Slack either. Like it's not as secure and things like that. So I think there's a middle ground where if we can build a private, secure chat application that is really lightweight, and you can just spin up simple sub channels and conversations, you know, to help organize your communication for your public or private group. And it happens to be linked into your general social media experience, as well as a feed of your group as well. Then we think that there's a lot of like value proposition there. You know, and so that's why we're focusing on that first with Holochain, and definitely see some potential to collaborate with Kizuna on that for sure.
So there's a question that came up from the channel. Will the Holochain version of Junto have a similar thing to secure scuttlebutt pubs? I'd be keen to hear more about how communities can make decisions about how to host shared content. And just for context, scuttlebutt pubs are like super nodes in a distributed network. Since they're always on, they help with things like peer matching, but can also carry heavier content like pics and videos. And the pubs in future could act like a decentralized community backup system, like how a big data center would work today, but be managed by the community. So the question, just because that was a lot of context after the question, so will Junto plan to have something similar to pubs, like how it'll make information available even when nodes aren't?
Even when nodes aren't like persistent?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, we're hoping that, you know, because we're building it on Holochain, but we'll be using Holo as like essentially the space for that. But we are looking into integrating like IPFS as well, especially for like larger media content and things like that. And we definitely want to give like the agency towards the community facilitators to really manage their own communities at that technical level, but also at the level of like community moderation, like being able to build their own tools for how they want to moderate their community, how they brand their community, and how they, you know, like what types of expressions are allowed, what types of content. Like we're really pushing all of that into the people's hands rather than putting that responsibility into like one organization like Junto.
Surprising answer. I think as for people asking these questions, there's a common theme. So check back in some of the previous ecosystem sessions as well. But Eric and the team are very consistent with how they're approaching the project and the level of collaboration, the level of trust, the level of integrity, and consistency. I'll reiterate. Cool. Okay, so the next one is like, will Junto's team work with HoloREA to develop shared features and functions? And for those of you actually who should probably give it a little context, those who don't know anything about HoloREA, you can check there's a couple of, well, at least one ecosystem session with 𝗏𝗏, who's been working on HoloREA, and REA stands for resources, events, and either actions, I think, or pretty sure anyway. It's a more holistic, integrated for like accounting system effectively that can account for, perfectly matched to accounting for flows of value. And it's been like a big initiative in the Holochain ecosystem over the last couple of years.
Yeah, we actually are. We're planning. We're planning on like. Well, we need to look into it more, but when we start to build the gift economics feature on Junto, where people can exchange offerings and needs, we definitely want to be using. We've been considering using HoloREA for that, and you know, just to kind of track the exchange of value there. But so that's definitely in the roadmap. A little further down the line, again, we're just focused mostly on private groups and group communication, with like sub-channels of conversation for the first Holochain thing. Yep. And then we're just going to test out a really basic version of offerings and needs in the centralized application just to see, you know, get feedback product wise, and then, yeah.
Yep. Okay, cool. I think I'll go more into the offerings and needs and like in a future conversation, whereas you're building it out and you can describe it more. I can ask a few questions. I'm excited to see how you're approaching that and see what comes up.
Yeah, sounds good.
Couple more here. So what are your thoughts on Telegram, Eric? Comes from the YouTube channel.
Telegram. I mean, I think it's pretty cool that they can have like group chats with that many people. It's not a simple technical feat to do that. I think Telegram, though, again, like at a certain scale becomes like, there's the anonymity factor, you know, there's, at a certain scale, it becomes very spammy and it's difficult to really coordinate conversations. I think the features that people have available on Telegram right now are you can create like a channel, which is like a single one-way directional sort of announcements thing that the channel creator can use. And then other than that, it's just one really long group chat, which serves its purposes. But I think that, you know, just messaging in general can be improved from a privacy standpoint. I think having it be decentralized is really important. I'm not familiar with the encryption protocols they're using, but I don't think it's similar to the forward secrecy that like Signal uses. But yeah, so, and I think that's why they're able to have like massive groups, whereas Signal, I think you're like capped at like 1,000. But so yeah, I think there's things to be improved with privacy and you know, organization. You know, with Holochain, it becomes really easy to create channels in a group conversation. You just spin up another DHT and you add who you want. So it's actually quite scalable. The only thing that we're really trying to figure out mainly is the encryption aspect of things. Like the DHT is encrypted, but we want to be able to encrypt like things from the agent themselves. And so we're trying to figure that out. But you know, that's a work in progress. And I use Telegram, you know, personally. I think it works really well for the groups I'm in. And it also really depends on the community too. Like for the Junto Telegram, people have been quite respectful for the most part, and like we haven't had that much spam. So I think, you know, the culture of the organization really plays a role in that too. But knock on wood, don't go on the Telegram channel and start spamming us, because we don't want to deal with that right now.
Next, another one comes up. Will Junto be profit oriented after launch?
So, you know, the funding we're raising now, it really depends on like, the strategy really depends on like how much money we raise in this round of crowdfunding. But at a certain point, we are going to launch a revenue model. And right now the revenue model is basically not putting anything behind like a paywall, and just really believing in that exchange where, you know, we only need 2 to 5% of people to contribute at an average monthly donation of $5. There are some a la carte things that we can do with like, you know, like white label service for groups and organizations where we can provide more custom things for them. But in general, the main approach is for us to just, you know, open the door for people to contribute on a recurring, like with an emphasis on recurring and monthly basis at, you know, different tiers. Like it can be $2, $5 up until, you know, organizational sponsors that are willing to pitch in like thousands of dollars a month for visibility on our website and things like that. But so yeah, we plan on doing that, but we are just focused on getting money through crowdfunding right now, and then just getting the product right, so we have something that people will feel called to support through that donation model.
Yeah. Cool. Here's another one that comes up. What are some beautiful things you've learned about launching the beta version so far, or launching the versions of the application so far?
Less is more. I think, you know, we have this vision of like, and it's funny because we were trying to simplify it as much as possible, but still like you can always simplify more. Just do like one thing really, really well, you know, like we were envisioning kind of like a whole, like this is everything you really need in social media, and this is how we can do better. I think we were maybe being a little ambitious, given, you know, we're quite a small team. Most of us, like there's two to three of us that are like full-time, and then the rest are like part-time contributors. And you know, the crowdfunding campaign will help us bring everyone to, most people to full-time capacity. But I think, you know, there's a sense of like eagerness when you're starting out a project and trying to build something for the community. And I think we tried to deliver on more than our capacity could provide. And you know, that we were able to build like most of the features, but I think we would have been in a better position if we just focused on like, just cut out the things that weren't fully immediately necessary and just focus on like a few things really well. But at the same time, you know, I think it's good that we still did it the way we did, because by presenting everything that we wanted to, we were able to kind of see what was resonating most with people. And now we have the information to kind of cut out the fat and just really focus on like public groups, you know, and focus on like these smaller features that can really just enhance the improvement, and then put the rest of the energy into Holochain, because I think that's really where a lot of the value proposition is going to come in.
Yeah, this question extends out to beautiful things, surprising things, and counterintuitive things, or non-intuitive things, or even ugly you've learned so far. So I don't know if there's any more that you want to expand that to just capture surprising, non-intuitive, or ugly.
Surprising, non-intuitive, or ugly. I mean, the intuitive thing is that, this is my personal belief, I think that things, you know, I feel like we made the decision that felt right for us at each moment in time. And I think, you know, the hindsight is that we could have done it this way, but at that moment in time, it felt like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And so it was a very intuitive process of building it. And I think it's unfolded in the way that it's really meant to, and it's clear, like Holochain's now ready. You know, we've got a lot of the centralized product built, and we know now like where we want to simplify and what we want to build. And the timing, you know, with the froth in the crypto market, but that's not really like the energy we're trying to go for, but just the general state of public awareness around like decentralization is kind of what I'm getting at. And especially with the things that are happening in our society with like, you know, the lockdowns and a lot of people feeling like they really want to reclaim their agency and like have better ways of communicating. You know, there again, it goes back to trust, and like there's a trust in the unfolding where things are kind of like teaching us lessons, preparing us to be ready for, you know, a larger onboarding of people. So I kind of look at it as everything's just been like one big preparation for being able to take on a larger set of responsibility and to execute better. You know, I'll be the first to acknowledge that in terms of like the product development, our execution hasn't been nearly where I wanted it to be. And a lot of it has to do with like, simply we don't have like enough people to, you know, basically prepare for this crowdfunding campaign, and then also like be actively shipping like every other week. So that's, you know, that's why we're here. That's why we're raising this money. I think we have a really clear vision of what we want to do, and we have the team to do it. And with you know, with a couple more hands on deck, I think we can be in a really good groove to deliver on, you know, what we're setting out to do.
So we've clearly spoken. All right, I'm guessing people will probably last question here. Thanks very much for the questions. I think 5 or 6 come in, great questions. I'm guessing people will want to upload pictures on Junto, but will uploading hundreds of pictures like on Facebook make it more difficult to run Junto node on phone? I guess that's why Holo exists.
Yeah. And then, you know, I think the Holochain community is still trying to figure it out. All of us, like maybe there's like sharding of large media files. I'm not sure if there's a clear answer to that yet, but at least Holo will be there to kind of, you know, serve as a bridge before needing to store all of that stuff on your own device.
Yeah, super. Yeah, it feels like even in this conversation, Eric, it feels like you and the organization like have come to a new point of maturity. And as alongside Holochain and Holo coming to a new point of maturity, and both are ready to move, and therefore like you can start to do some of the things that you wanted to do originally, but with couple of years of experience and understanding what works, like pragmatic, realistic, but then keeping that same ethos and approach.
Yeah, I feel similarly. It's our timing has been pretty aligned. I just find it a little funny how
well, why don't we finish off? It's funny because our conversations often go, but with all the different questions, I feel like it's been quite a full hour.
Yeah.
I was looking at my calendar. I was like, oh, Eric, there'll be so much space.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to that. It's a new pattern now with all of the questions coming in. So why don't you sign us off the live stream with this final question, which is just, what do you enjoy about Junto most? What do you find most beautiful? And then I'll close. I won't say anything more. So thanks for watching this first live ecosystem session with Eric from Junto.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, and really excited about the crowdfund. Eric shared the link. We'll share the link in the YouTube channel, and please get involved. And then I'll now just let you answer that final question. I'll just share it again. So what do you enjoy about Junto most? What do you find most beautiful? And then we can just close in silence if that works for you. And then whenever you're compelled to leave, just leave.
Sounds great. I mean, for me, this project has given so much to me, you know, like, I feel blessed to have kind of be a conduit for it, to have an opportunity to like work on something that is extremely close to my heart. You know, like the inspiration for it from the very beginning was more about like self-actualization for me, like a personal story of like, how can I reach a space where I no longer feel bound by these stereotypes or external expectations and obligations, or like these presentations of like what I feel like I need to be like, right? It's kind of like that primal feeling where it's like, how can I just unleash like who I am? Like, who am I, basically? And how can I be that unapologetically? And that's what this has been about for me. And I think that that's why we say like authenticity. You know, I think that the root of authenticity is like self-acceptance. And if we can nurture that and facilitate that, then that is a beautiful inner work for people to kind of really practice. And I think it can do a lot of great things for the world and for our relationships with each other, and especially ourselves. But specifically, you know, I'm kind of like a lone wolf a little bit. Like, I like to do my thing and like kind of like be in the world, but not like of it. You know what I mean? Like, kind of be able to fully detach from like everything at any moment in time, and just not feel like I have to like kind of. And so this lesson of which is so funny that the name of the project, like Junto or Junto, you know, like together, is like the biggest lesson for me personally. Like learning how to be together, like learning the lesson of like, I don't need to do everything by myself, and being really honest with myself and acknowledging like how much of it is me like putting in like how much of it is coming from a place of service versus how much of it is me trying to validate myself, or me trying to prove something to myself that I am like capable of something, right? And so it's kind of been this like friction, like this ever evolving process of like, it's healing, you know, that conflict and that like tension is like, and that friction has been very healing. And just learning how to defer and let go and delegate more and really be brutally honest with myself and not make it about me at all, you know, and just really make sure I'm always connected to like why I'm really doing this, you know, because the ego likes to creep up and likes to find its way into these little pockets of like weakness. But so learning that lesson of junto, of togetherness, you know, really acknowledging the gifts that everyone has and creating like to me, leadership is really about how much space can you give away, right? Like how much space, room can you let others like really come into their, come into, you know, leading the direction themselves. And so it's been a big lesson for me, learning how to work with other people and learning how to communicate. Like still a lot of work to do in those regards, you know, but so that's been really beautiful for me is working with people and learning how to work with people, learning how to defer, and especially working with people that like are doing it for the right reasons, you know, and have themselves like sacrificed a lot, you know, like we're not a well-funded team right now, and people are, you know, everyone on the team is just doing it because they really care about it, and that's like quite touching for me. And yeah, just continuing to this journey, learning a lot about myself and the world, and you know, and just really excited to create some positive change, and for us to, it's almost like we're entering this new phase, this new era, where we need to learn how to be with technology, but we also need to relearn how to go back to our roots, like the indigenous ways, like the native ways, like connection with each other, like conversations in person, like interdependency, connection with nature, like respect for nature, like humility, you know, like these are the things, like these are the lessons that we need to like relearn as we start to learn how to be more balanced with technology as well. So I'll leave it at that, you know, and thank you everyone for participating and taking the time to listen to what we're doing. You know, we hope that you join this movement with us, and you know, we hope to see you on the application as we open it up for more people this year. And yeah, we could just really use your support, and the door is open for anyone that wants to lend a hand.